So one of the things that I do every single morning is I go through emails. I try to figure out what's good, what's bad, what's actually happening in this world. Not just from, media outlets like Bloomberg and CNN and CNBC, but I also read emails from just regular people. And one of the emails I got this morning was interesting. All it said was, "You were right." Now, I don't know what they were referring to. This was not a person that I've talked to before, but I've been getting emails a lot lately about how I was right. I was right on prices were going to continue to go up even though inflation is coming down. Because what we do spend money on is food. We spend money on gas, utilities, rent, those things. Those are our big expenses. Now, I also received a couple other emails. I want to go over some of those. And I want to read you this first one, okay? And I want to read you this and really think about it, okay? Here's what this email said. This email reads, and I quote, "My family is so very thankful we listened to you. I remember hearing about some of the problems we are having now more than 4 months ago, and you said these things. I'm 63 years old, and I can't move around too much, and my husband is 66 and in about the same condition. I told my kids that of what you said, and they went out and bought medicine for their children. They bought extra heaters, and I also bought one of those buddy heaters for myself. We are glad we did, as we lost electricity last night, and this helped get my husband and I through one cold night." So that is the email that I received this morning. Now, my guess is this person is living in an area that's being impacted by, probably the cold, but also is getting, hit with maybe power outages. And I said this, that we are going to see rolling outages. We're going to see rolling blackouts. They may not be extreme, there may not be a lot of them, but we are going to see them. Now, why do I bring all this up? Well, I bring this up because I'm not on here to spread fear. That's not my goal. My goal is to make sure people are ready. Make sure people have money. Make sure you have a little Mr. Buddy heater if that is what you need. My intention is not to get you to spend money on something that you don't need. And here's my warning to you. Right now, it is December 22nd. Okay? It's December 22nd. Millions and millions of Americans are out there probably right now trying to buy some last minute Christmas items. Now, my wife and I, we sat down and we talked about, what should we get our kids? We got 3 kids. And what should we get them? And we went through a whole list of stuff, and it's like, do they really need that? Is that something that they could use? And we went back and forth, and honestly, there's a lot of things that my kids don't need. Not even need, even though they maybe want it. It's not even something that they would use a handful of times, yet they're asking for it. And this is the problem for me personally. Now, even though I can go out there and I could buy them, the majority of, whatever they want, I'm not going to do that. But here's the thing. Many Americans will. Many people are going to go deep into credit card debt in order to have a big, lavish Christmas. When that's not what it's about. But again, it's about saving money. Having money in case there's an emergency. Which brings me to an email that I received yesterday. I think this is very fitting that I read it today. Here's what the email says. "Adam, you said last year that prices were going to go up and the biggest problem we were going to have is affording the necessities. You were right. My 4-year-old daughter has had a cold for a couple of days. I went to go get her some medicine, but it was $19.95 a bottle. The grocery stores are ripping people off. These bottles of cold medicine are normally only $7.99 at that same store. How sick that the grocery store is going to price gouge families with children. But at least I was able to pay for it. However, I will not be shopping at that store ever again." That is an email that I received yesterday. Remember when I just said, for me personally, I could afford to go and buy my kids pretty much anything that they want on their Christmas list. But I'm not going to do that. And it's not because they don't deserve it. It's because I'm not going to put my family in a situation where maybe in 6 months, maybe in 6 years, who knows, I want to be able to pay for something. If a bottle of medicine that one of my kids needs is 2.5 times what it normally costs, I want to be able to pay for that. But again, this is the situation that we're in. 2023 is going to be a nightmare. This is an economic crisis. And I think so many people believe that the economy is going to be stronger, going to be better. We're going to be back on track. We're going to have our normal lives back, right? This is going to be 2018, 2019 all over again. And it's going to happen in 2023. I don't believe that. Here's something else. And this is a comment that I got just the other day as well in response to a video where I said the government is not going to help us, that we are on our own. Well, somebody said the federal government will help us. That is what they're there for. They will come out. They will provide additional relief when we need it. They won't. And I remember hearing something on... Joe Rogan and Grant Cardone did a thing, and I believe they were talking about how if you're relying on the federal government for to be saved, you're gonna hurt because they're not gonna save us. Now, I've received so many emails, and again, thank you guys for sending the emails. Thank you guys for commenting on the videos. But I've received so many emails and comments saying the same thing, that people are sick and tired of the government because they're not helping us when we need it. And now is kind of when we need it, but again, they can't help us because they can't actually afford it themselves. Now, here's something I've said multiple times in the past. The economic crisis that we are about to face is going to be so severe, yet people are not seeing it. This is because most people are experiencing one issue at a time. But the real problem actually comes, and you can see it, when we have multiple crises at the same time. For instance, let's just assume you go on unemployment. Okay? So you still get money. You get, let's say instead of $400 a week, you get $300 a week. Okay? Now, I don't know the exact amount that you get, but let's just use those figures. So you're going to lose about $400 every single month. Okay? Here's the issue. But then you couple that with inflation. Food prices keep rising because, well, we have additional shortages, right? Look at eggs. Look at bread. Look at milk. Look at just meat in general. It's going up. Okay? I paid for some meat just yesterday. I think my wife said we paid $9.95 a pound. This wasn't steak, okay? This wasn't steak. This wasn't something that should be $9.99 a pound. Yet it was. But you couple unemployment with higher inflation, and then you add in a winter storm, like we're having right now. Guess what? This means stores that are normally selling products for, let's say, $5 or $4.99, they're going to charge possibly $6.99 or $5.99 for an item instead because, well, they know they're not going to get a lot more in because there's a winter storm. There are icy roads. They're not going to get deliveries. So what do? Instead of selling out and having empty shelves, they decide, you know what, let's just raise our prices just a little bit, 15, 20%. That's it. Let's just raise them just a little bit. We'll make a little bit extra money, which will be great for the store, but for the American people and the consumers, it's not a good news. It's horrible. But that's the crises that we're facing. So get this. So let's say you're making normally $1,600 a month. Okay, great. But then because of, you lose your job, you're now on unemployment benefits, now you're only getting $1,200. So you already lost $400. But yet, your landlord comes in and they say, you know what? Everything's going up. We got more things to pay. It's getting a little bit more expensive. we're going to have to charge you an extra $100 a month. So essentially you lost $500 right there. $400 from unemployment, $100 from your rent. Then food prices are going up. Let's say you pay an extra, let's say $50 for the month. So there's $550 that you just lost right there. You're down to $1,050. And then on top of that, you got a winter storm, and now you're overpaying for items because, well, deliveries aren't going to happen. This is what I'm talking about. And I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, that's never going to happen. All those things are never going to happen. They just did. I know a handful of people that just went on unemployment this week. Okay, this week. Well, and I believe still here in Washington State. I have to look, but I believe, and it's probably, I believe it's the same thing over the United States as well. But when you got unemployment, you have a 1 week waiting period. And so they don't get paid this week. They'll get paid next week. Again, that's an issue. The 2023, and I was hoping 2023 was going to be a good year. But honestly, 2023 is looking like it's going to be a nightmare of a year. It could potentially be worse than 2022, which 2022 has already been very bad. So, as soon as I get more information as to what's going on, I promise I'll come back on and share all latest news and updates again. Just want to thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.